welcome to W Rated, the show where we willingly watch the world's worst rated movies. Today you've joined us on one of this year's Road to Razzies mini episodes. This is our annual season of episodes looking at the nomination for the controversial Golden Raspberry Awards 2025. For new listeners, I'm Daisy, and as always, I'm joined by podcast co-creator, host and editor Claire. Claire, would you like to tell us what film we're talking about this episode?
In today's episode, we're talking about Megalopolis, which is nominated for 6 awards: Worst Picture, Worst Director for Francis Ford Coppola, 2 Worst Supporting Actors with Shia LaBeouf and Jon Voight, Worst Screenplay for Francis Ford Coppola, and Worst Screen Combo for the entire cast. It was released on 1st of March 2025. It is joint together with... Oh, no, sorry. That's the date of the ceremony. I was like, what?
I was going to say.
I'm pretty sure I
was like, was it that long
ago?
I was like, oh, maybe she means 2024.
I was like, it premiered in Cannes, and that was May. Yeah, so this film, a bit of background knowledge, Coppola was trying to get it off the ground for like 20, 30, 40 years. Like, he's always wanted to make this film. So he started developing it in 1983, and it's taken him this long to get it made. He basically financed nearly the whole of the film himself and sold off some of his vineyards to finance it, put his money where his mouth was. It premiered at Cannes Film Festival in 2024, to very mixed / mostly negative reviews, apart from one who...
I was going to say it's good context that to share that it debuted there because of that kind of immediate kickoff, basically. But you were there and you were standing your ground in the...
Well, I missed some of it. So I missed the premiere. It premiered when I was still... at home. I went for the second week of Cannes, but I did get to go and see one of the repeat screenings. I got to go and see a screening on Saturday morning, and Mr. Coppola himself turned up and introduced the film. And at the start, before the film started, we all had to stand up and say the Megalopolis pledge with him, which was like about honour and duty and the little like spiel at the end of the movie. We all stood up and put our hands up and chanted it together. And then he said, "Thank you, enjoy the film," and off we went.
Right.
And I did enjoy the film. I gave it 4 stars as my review.
I can't remember what I ended up giving it. So I hadn't seen it. This was one of those ones where classic Daisy, everyone's like, oh my God, have you seen it? One of my colleagues walked out and it just built the hype. Can't wait. So I think this was the one that I was most looking forward to watching because of that. And for me, it was pretty much of 2 halves. And let it be known, it wasn't in a I'm blown away by how good this is. I was really invested in what I was watching because it felt so different. Yeah. In the first half, I was kind of it did hook me. In the second half, it lost me. So I think
it does go on.
Yeah, and it sort of I actually think the second half becomes a little bit more cliche is not quite the right word, just like by the numbers. Yeah. A little bit more. I think the setting up of the world and what it's trying to do and how different it is with like the dialogue and I was really intrigued. I think that it could best be pinpointed with the scene when they're in the rafters over the model and how that played out and how different it is. Kind of a bit. I mean, I was about to say Shakespearean. He literally does a bit of Shakespeare in it, but it intrigued me enough that I was like, this is a bit bizarre. I'm kind of enjoying it, and then I think. The second half, and I think sometimes this happens a lot with films where first half's possibility, right? It's like, where is this going to go? And then when you realise where it's going, you're either like, yes, bought in, or it drops off. So I think I would have probably rated it around 4 because I was like really intrigued by the whole uniqueness of it. But then because I didn't necessarily feel enraptured by where it went, kind of fell off in the second.
No, I completely agree. And like, this is a film that he was developing for like 40 years, and you can see the bits that really worked, and then you can see the bits that just didn't, and it did at times fall apart, and certain scenes you were just like, why is this here? And it felt like a bit of a patchwork. But yeah, I think the Shakespeareanness was what I was there for it. The absolute theatrics of it. I was like, we just don't get shit like that anymore. It was nice to see people playing. Like, I enjoyed the playfulness and the silliness and the over-the-topness rather than, I'm an action hero and I'm going to run down the road really seriously.
Yeah, it was artistic. It was something, it wasn't just by the numbers. I've seen this a million times. It made me go, what's this? What is going on? What's happening here? Like, I'm really intrigued. It seems a bit silly, and like that's engagement, which is ultimately what you want from a film. I think the visuals are really interesting. I think the very, very first scene with the time and then him like falling down is like, that was in the trailer and all that was the clip that was released, and that was really intriguing. I just think that maybe there's it runs out of steam a little bit.
Absolutely.
I think that's the best way to describe it, in that it's got all of these things going on. It's really intriguing. I'm thinking about the party scene where he's
loved
drunk
all
on
the
drugs
stuff at the party.
All the artistic stuff there, and you're like, what's really going on with these families? And like when Shia LaBeouf's character like reveals that like sex tape basically, and I think the world building is really, really intriguing. But then, it just whilst I appreciate what the story was trying to do, it kind of just wrote itself into a corner a little bit, maybe.
It's that thing as well. He's obviously trying to riff off Shakespeare, and at the end, like the third act of a Shakespeare play is when, especially a Shakespeare comedy, is when all of the characters, like all 10 characters that have all been off doing different things, all come together, and it becomes reveal after reveal after reveal that it was all linked together. And Coppola, whilst a visionary filmmaker, is no Shakespeare. And I just don't think he can pull off that tying it all back together. So when they were all off doing their own thing, creating a world, it's amazing, but he can't tie the bow on it. He cannot bring it all back together in a right way.
Especially because, and I think, and I read a lot of reviews that sort of had this point, which is you wouldn't want this to be, it's his vision, right? Which is fantastic that he is able to have that like uncumbered view, like way of going about it. But then you sort of start to see how people weren't involved in helping him edit and refine and stuff like that.
And you're only as good as the team behind you. A great leader, a great manager, whatever. Like, you're as good as the team behind you, and he obviously didn't trust or didn't believe, or I don't know, but
and then obviously there was a lot coming out from the set in terms of his behaviour as well, so which you don't really know how much that impacted how well this was crafted together too.
Allegations of him groping extras on the set is just unnecessary in all ways from him. I don't think anything ever came of it, but I also would believe the accuser rather than him on that one. That was upsetting and disappointing to hear.
And I think it's especially disappointing when you want to be encouraging people to have their freedom to make a whole vision of their own without studio interference, because we've seen so many times a lot of what we've sort of said, it just feels like the producers came in at the last minute and tweaked this and it didn't work, sort of thing. But then you've got the flip side of those institutions are there and organisations are there to protect people. Sometimes that part of their role is for it to be a workplace versus someone's free reign to kind of behave how they want.
Who was it that very recently came out in that article? It's like quite an established actor or actress, and she'd never worked on a Netflix production before, and she came onto the set and she couldn't believe...
Cameron Diaz?
Yes, Cameron Diaz. She was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe that there were people there to protect me. There were intimacy coordinators. There were people there checking I was okay with scenes. She was like, that's never been this way. And you don't want Netflix going in to someone like Coppola or Scorsese or someone and being like, you have to do it this way. But at the same time, that young... I don't know if the extra... I don't know anything about the extra, but that poor extra, that might now be their life ruined. If they were after a career in film, they might now not be comfortable going on a set again. Coppola might have been their hero. That's now dead to them. There's a balance. There's a balance, and
being a quote unquote artistic genius does not give you free rein to abuse people. It's a sense of, a lot of people will be like, quite apologetic and be like, oh, he's old, he's this, he's that. He should, and then it sort of leads to the conversation of, you don't want people, like the whole intimacy coordinator debate. It's like you don't want like bureaucracy getting in the way of art, and it's just like that age-old thing of, no, it helps create art because it helps people feel safe. Yeah. Like, don't, this whole excuse of like, well, you can't have rules and regulations because then they stifle artistic vision. It's just like, get fucked.
And like, the job of an intercity coordinator is the main part, are you comfortable? And if you say yes, then the intercity coordinator goes and sits down. Yeah. Like, if you say, I'm completely comfortable, then the intimacy coordinator gets a really easy day job. They're just like, cool, I'm going to go sit in the back and have a watch.
They're not going to tell people how to do their job.
They're not going to be like, you don't feel comfortable and it's not appropriate. Like, are you comfortable? Like, this is how it's written on the script. Director, how do you want to do it? Are you comfortable with everything the director's saying? Perfect, I'll go sit down and chill out. And it's their opportunity to be like, actually, I'm not. Like,
how can we do this differently? So like, exactly. Yeah. People are just making excuses to be honest.
Yeah.
And the whole thing they don't know about.
Well, the whole thing about Coppola, he's old, so, like, give him a thing. It's like, well, if he's too old to conduct himself appropriately in public, then maybe he's too old to be working.
Mm-hmm.
That's...
Don't need to say any more than that.
Speaking of people conducting themselves appropriately in public or elsewhere, let's talk about our nominated actors. I mean, this film had a whole cast of quote-unquote bad cancelled people. The two big ones being Shia LaBeouf and Jon Voight. Mm-hmm. We discussed Jon Voight in our Reagan episode. Mm-hmm. In this film, to be honest, I felt like he was a bit struggling from what I can remember. Now, I saw this film nearly 10 months ago. I didn't have an opportunity to rewatch it, unfortunately. And I sort of am scared to rewatch it because I was sat in Cannes on the last day of Cannes in a ball gown, watching it, having a great time. I don't want to take that memory from myself. But yeah, I felt like Jon Voight could have been interdisposed with anyone in this.
That's what I was about to say. Jon Voight's just Jon Voight. I don't see him...
He seemed like a dithery old man.
Yes, he's just, I think, for me, is very much like copy-paste, sort of that kind of role. The only difference with the Reagan nom was that he was trying to speak in a Russian accent. And I think I've heard so many bad Russian accents now that I can't, and I apologise to any Russian listeners, like, genuinely think that that's what I think they sound like now, because it's such a stereotype that you hear in all American films that I can't tell the good from the bad anymore, really.
I mean, I finished Craven the Hunter yesterday, and boy!
Oh, we'll be talking about that on another episode. Yeah, we're talking about Russian accents. Yeah,
there's some accents.
There should be a specific bad Russian accent category, I think, this year. But no, I think Jon Voight is just very much like, oh, there's Jon Voight.
He also, I've just been checking, and like he has done various, so in the 60s and 70s, he did do a lot of Shakespeare in San Diego, and did he ever do it? No, he did The Tempest and Romeo and Juliet in San Diego and Hamlet in San Diego. So I wonder if he's known for being a decent Shakespearean.
I don't disbelieve that he was once a good actor. I'm pretty sure he got an Oscar at some point, didn't he? But I've always seen him as
old bad
man.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie's dad.
Yeah. So he's had 2 or more Academy Award nominations, but I can't see specifically a list of awards and nominations. So he won Best Actor for Coming Home and was nominated twice more for Best Actor and once more for Best Supporting Actor, but the last nom was in 2001.
That's what I mean. I think he's had his career in the last 20 or so years has been this kind of stuff. Well, not Megalopolis, but some of the other bits he's been nominated for. And I think if we're looking at it from Francis Ford Coppola's point of view, bearing in mind, let's see, and casting director, I'm sure that he's pretty much like, this is his party that he's inviting people to. I imagine that he probably wanted to do an old Hollywood power favour, felt like he was good for it, and, he's been cancelled and all that, so like Stephen walked in and was like, there's a lot of cancelled people on this, and I was like, well, Francis Ford Coppola isn't too much of an angel himself, so that probably makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely think he's probably one of those guys like, I don't believe in cancellation.
For sure.
so speaking of the other cancelled persons, Shia LaBeouf, also nominated. I struggled with this one when watching the film because Shia LaBeouf is a well-documented, horrible person. He has had so many chances and comebacks, but unfortunately I do still believe he's a very good actor, and I really, really enjoyed his performance in this, and I really struggled with that because I was like, I want to be able to separate the art from the person, but I also don't like him as a person, so I don't want to give him praise when I don't have to. So I believe, like in my review, I just didn't mention him, even though he was one of the things I really enjoyed. I was like, I don't want him. I don't think I mentioned him at all.
Platform them, basically.
Yeah. That was pretty much it. I was just like, he was great, but I'm just not gonna. And so
I find forgive his sins, is it? So
yeah, so like I wouldn't agree with this nomination for him because
especially not because it's specifically for when he was in drag.
Yeah,
I think that was like a highlight of that performance.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah, no, I thought he was great. And then other acting nomination was Worst Screen Combo for the entire cast, which I think is outrageous because don't disrespect Aubrey Plaza as
I was literally just thinking
about
Aubrey Plaza.
Wow, Platinum.
Yeah, that was, I think she was probably the MVP.
Oh, yeah. Every scene she was in.
I didn't expect her to be in this. I didn't know she was going to be in it. So I was very pleasantly surprised. But I think, if we're talking about it from the screen combo point of view, she was like electric with everyone.
Yeah.
Like she was working across. So
I think I potentially could allow it for Adam Driver, and is it Natalie Emmanuel? Is that her full name?
I still can't believe her career. She was in Hollyoaks.
I know. I'm like fucking well good for her. So I don't think she was bad in this, but I also don't think they had particularly great chemistry. No. So I could allow that maybe is like a thing, but like I didn't think they had awful. I didn't buy them as a couple particularly, but Adam Driver's a weird guy, so
what is in like in a sense that
he's just a weird guy.
You'd find it hard to see him have chemistry with
a little bit, a little bit. I think I also like my first thing of Adam Driver was in the film. Oh my god, I can't remember what it's called now. But it's the film
The Daniel Radcliffe one,
and Zoe Kazan. Thank you. I was like, if now, and I was like, that's not right. I was like, no, there's an if somewhere. Yeah, what if? And him and Mackenzie Davis. Like, I can't believe they're not really fucking in real life. Just astonishing chemistry, off the charts weirdness. I love them. Favorite couple in any movie.
Yeah, so maybe. Adam Driver is best when he leans into that.
Yeah.
And then Natalie Emmanuel wouldn't have been able to match him.
Yeah.
And that's not what the character called for anyway.
No. But yeah, I didn't think she was bad, I didn't think he was bad, but like if I had to pick a screen combo from this film, I would have probably picked them as the norm if I had to actually, whereas I think the entire cast is a bit harsh. I thought there was some good like Aubrey Plaza with Shia LaBeouf and Aubrey Plaza with Adam Driver was great. Giancarlo Esposito with anyone, amazing. I
think him and Natalie Emmanuel's like the father-daughter relationship
was good. Yeah.
I don't know. I think this category is a little bit of a cop-out. Like, it's pretty much just like pick a film and then pick the whole cast from it. It's like, well, we've got acting nominations, so like, I don't know. It just seems a bit of a not low blow, like a quick sort of. Let's just nominate that cast. Yeah. I do think Adam Driver was very good in this, though.
I feel really bad for Adam Driver because he is having the best worst career out there. Like when you so like when you look at it on paper, he is working with the greats. He is working with everyone you'd want to work with, but every single film that comes out is in some way a flop or a controversy or doesn't make money or gets bad reviews.
What are you thinking of then? Because immediately I think of White Noise, which I did not like.
Oh, I didn't even
bother with that. Which was his second Noah Baumbach, right?
Yeah,
because I love Marriage Story.
See, I'm not a Baumbach fan, and I didn't like Marriage Story.
Right.
I get why I didn't think
split, right?
Most people liked it, but I get why people like that film. It just wasn't for me. Like, I didn't think it was in any way a bad film. It just wasn't for me. But I'm thinking, like, he did Black Klansman with Spike Lee. Now, that one was obviously really well acclaimed.
Yeah, that was good.
He did Annette with Leo Carax.
Oh, right, yeah, I've not seen that, but...
I fucking adored Annette, but that was a flop. And then he's obviously done, is it 3 films now with Ridley Scott? He's done Last Draw in House of Gucci. Was Ferrari Ridley Scott? No, Ferrari was Michael Mann. But again, Ferrari was poorly received.
Oh, yeah, I never thought about this.
Yeah,
that is bad.
And then he's done Coppola, and then Coppola's been badly received. Like, he is working with the people that you would think of our age group if you got a chance to work with. So I imagine he's in a similar age ranking to us.
Maybe this is the problem, is that he's going for directors who are past their prime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than betting on, like, newer upcoming ones.
But yeah, he, like, quite famously now, his last so-called hit would probably be either Marriage Story or The Rise of Skywalker, and they're both in 2019.
Rise of Skywalker was not a hit.
But technically on paper. And that's why it's like so-called hits. But then 2020, nothing because of the pandemic, but 2021, Annette, Last Duel, House of Gucci, all mega flops.
Last Duel. But
yeah,
even then, I think that wasn't that well received.
That was just, people just didn't care about it. I love that film. I
loved that one.
People that actually watched it loved it, but no one watched it.
I think I had to watch it for the Razzies because it was nominated for... Ben Affleck was nominated.
Mental. White Noise 2022 did badly, and then 2023 65, which was that like travel time dinosaur one, which was a mega waste, and then Ferrari, which didn't get anything.
Who did 65? Was it Colin Trevorrow, or am I just thinking of dinosaurs because he did Jurassic World?
Scott Beck and Brian Woods. I don't know.
I see what you mean about.
Yeah, and then Megalopolis in this, and then his upcoming film for this year, Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, with Jim Jarmusch, who he did The Dead Don't Die with, which I thought was one of the worst films I've ever seen.
We hated The Dead Don't Die. We were like, what the fuck is this? And I'm all for like weird off-kilter things, but that I did not like. So that's going to be shit then.
Yeah. So Adam Driver's career, bless him. Keep trying, my love.
But maybe he's still enjoying it.
Yeah. He's still getting work, but you know when you're like, he should have been the one. He should have been the guy.
He should, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no. What else have we got on the noms?
Screenplay, director and picture, which I feel like kind of all can be merged into one.
We've got no scapegoat, I'm afraid, Coppola on this one.
Yeah. I would absolutely, whilst I delighted in the Shakespearean nonsense, the screenplay is a mess. It's messy, it goes off on tangents, it doesn't quite land its message at all, and it's full of cliches. I loved it, but it's not good.
Yeah, it was certainly interesting, especially in the first half. Like, this is not regular dialogue.
Yeah.
Trying to work out thank God I had subtitles, trying to work out what was going on. But yeah, I mean, I watched it a few weeks ago, and I have to say that a lot of it it's not stayed with me. But I do remember giggling at some very wooden and weird dialogue. So it was almost like it was like a bit of it was weird in one form, and then the rest just didn't work.
I was slightly off, but the Dorian Awards, I need to check what they are. They have nominated it for campiest flick. Yes, that is exactly.
Yeah.
So they are a film, television, and Broadway accolades given by the Society of LGBTQ Entertainment Critics.
I love that. That's an award.
And campiest flick. It was nominated, and I would 100%. That is exactly why I loved it.
That's exactly the vibe.
Yeah, I don't think it was intended to be campy, but I loved how campy it was.
Whoops, because it really, really is.
It really was.
Yeah.
The screenplay was it. The direction, it'd be interesting again to see, because the bits there's some amazing shots and some amazing sequences, but they don't come together as a whole film. You can see his flair, but it is the thing of, like you say, did he need less control on the edit? Did he need better collaborators on the screenplay? Like, what was it? Because you can see the amazing direction, but as a whole, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's this idea of this is meant to be this huge epic, but it felt very small.
Yeah.
There's some really, really interesting shots, but it felt, those shots, because you knew that they were meant to make you feel more, it kind of felt a bit cheap sometimes.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was intentional or not, but I felt like it was performed on stage, and I wasn't wasn't sure if that was leaning into the Shakespeareanness of it, but you could almost like feel the sound stage around them. It felt like they were doing a play.
And then there were some bits like when she was walking, remember when he was like, I'll walk through the city and close your eyes and feel it, and that looked bad.
Yeah. Oh, some of the CGI was very dodgy. Yeah.
So it's almost like it's a shame, because I know I respect the vision, and I try to buy into it and kind of just allow it to have its shortcomings whilst respecting what it was trying to do. But it did take me out of, and it might be because I didn't watch it in the cinema as well, that might have helped as well.
I think I probably was more into it than you, but I'd agree with everything you're saying, and I saw it in the cinema. Like, I saw it, like, one of the best ways to see it.
It just felt a bit, like, boxed in, because it felt limited.
Yeah.
It felt the script and the ideas feel bigger than what he could bring to life.
Well, and so I was going to say, do you know about The Little Man?
No.
Okay, so the way it was originally planned, so you know, there's a certain part of the film after the sex tape reveal where Adam Driver's doing a press conference.
Oh yes, no, sorry, I do know about this. Yes.
So yeah, for anyone that doesn't, a little man in the cinema comes out into the screening room and asks the questions, and it looks like Adam Driver is responding to the little man in the cinema room. I got to have a little man in my screening, and it was very fun. I don't think they did it in most cinemas. What he had wanted to do with that was for it to actually be interactive, and he was in the process of creating technology with, I think it was, I don't know if it was with Amazon, I can't remember who it was with, but he was working with a company to create the technology that an audience member would be able to ask the question, and they would have responses from Adam Driver, like be able to, like, almost like AI respond. But then whoever he was working with decided it was too costly or dropped it or something like that, so that's why they compromised with the tiny man.
And it's almost like, I think that sums up the film, right? In that there's these really brilliant ideas that if they were executed would have been really, really interesting and bold, but it almost was that he's had to compromise on them. And then they feel a bit out of place. It's almost like, because I watched it at home, and what it does is it adds a box around Adam Driver, and then has someone in the frame right in front of you, out of focus, in silhouette. Right. And I knew about that, so I could tell that it had a box. Yeah. That basically had been put with a frame around it. So, again, it didn't feel too out of place because it's a bit wacky, the whole film anyway. But it does sort of feel like this is the compromised version of the film, even though he has managed to raise the money and do it all and stuff. I'm sure he said he's proud of it and everything, but it doesn't quite feel like what he probably dreamed it would have been these last 20 years.
I'd imagine it was a point where he's never going to be, if he doesn't do it now, he'll never be able to do it. He's getting very old. And then obviously he lost his wife as well, because it's dedicated to his wife. And so was he also dealing with her health conditions? Was, he not having people around him in the right way? I don't know. But yeah, it's very compromised.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't like seeing it here, but it doesn't surprise me to see it here. Yeah. I still had a fun time with it. Like in my review, I basically wrote that I'd much rather see a film that doesn't work like this than watch a complete by-the-numbers Netflix that you know everything that's going to happen. I think more giving it a goes for me, less algorithm making.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said when I was watching it at home. I was like, I'd rather break things up by having someone shoot for the stars and then fall a little bit, than just like what we've spoken about every year, which is more and more studios are trying to use AI and algorithms to create perfect,
I'd rather watch 10 of these than one more Ghosted.
That's exactly what I was thinking of Ghosted, because we knew that it had been edited based on what they think people respond to, and this is the exact opposite in that he didn't give a shit what people were responding to. This is purely his vision, and that's not to say that either of those two examples are inherently all good or all bad, but they are the opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of the purpose of, or the intent of how you use your audience in making decisions.
Cool. Anything else on Megalopolis?
I don't think so. It wasn't as mad as I expected. The way people were like walking out the cinema and stuff.
That's it. Like because I got to be one of the first people to see it, and even then, there were people that I saw it on the last day of Cannes, and it had premiered the week before. The way people were talking about it, I was like, it's just silly. Like it's silly. And when people were like, "Oh, is it really that bad? Should I go and see it?" I was like, "Look, I can't recommend it as a good film, but I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So go in expecting silliness and fun and Shakespearean nonsense. But the way people were like, it's the worst. It is laughable. You'll be like, it's terrible, and it's like it's really not that deep."
We've spoken about this quite a lot in terms of what people go in expecting from films, and I think there seems to be a lack of people wanting to enjoy a film versus think that it's really good.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, people, when they want a good film, like when you look back in all the 90s, the 80s films and stuff, they were entertaining, they were silly, they weren't all good, and it seemed like people, like audiences, responded well to that. And I don't know what's been going on in the last 20 years or so, but people want every film to be like
perfection.
Yeah, I don't.
But we want that with everything. Like, look at online dating. People won't date anymore because they're looking for they keep looking for the perfect thing. People don't want to stay in jobs because they think the next job will be the better job.
It's the choice.
Yeah,
what's the word? It's like there's like a phrase where it's just like that's the other side of having so much choice. Is that you don't take a gamble on things. Like, it's the opposite of going to Blockbuster on a Friday and having to gamble on whatever film you choose based on the VHS tape and the availability, and being open-minded because you know that that's your one film, versus now we've got the whole of Netflix and a bajillion other streamers to go.
You go on and you're like, I'll probably watch that one, but let me see if there's something better, and then you waste an hour looking for something better, and then you end up going back to the first film anyway.
It's all connected, I think, in that we have so much to choose from. If we choose something and it's not, we don't feel like it's the perfect use of our time, we think it's the worst thing we've ever seen. So,
and I think that actually sums up a large amount of these nominees this year, because there are quite a few this year that I've watched that I'm like, not great, but totally perfunctory, totally fine, like no bother with it. And I think that that sums up that, like, I wasted my time and my money on this film, and you now need to be ashamed of that.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.